Hello darlings, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be doing this. I haven't done any sort of tutorial in over 2 years, almost 3. It was October of 2017 that I did my last tutorial. And this one I'm really excited about because in those 2 years, my makeup skills have been more practiced and have improved. And so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I do my foundation, highlighting, and contouring. Let's get right into it. We're going to start by priming the face, and to prime I always use Rimmel London Stay Matte Primer. I use this because I use their products for my concealer, my highlight, my contour, my foundation, everything. So I use their primer because it works with the formula, because it's designed to work with the formula. So we're going to start by priming the whole face with this. Alrighty, next we are going to do our base foundation, and I use, again, Stay Matte by Rimmel, and this shade is 101 Porcelain Ivory. And before I do that, I just like to add that it's always important to make sure that you're putting makeup on a freshly washed and freshly moisturized face. I just got out of the shower and moisturized myself. I'm all shaved and everything, so let's get started. Next, we're going to blend out the foundation. I always used to use makeup sponges to blend, but I found that when I used makeup sponges, I would always lose a lot of product in the sponge. So when I use my fingers, not only do I have more control and I can get into a lot of the different spots around my face, but I don't lose any product. So we're gonna blend. I do this is when I have large areas to cover, I start by doing sort of swiping motions to cover the area, and then I use a stippling motion to buff it out and blend it out. 2 things to remember: never forget your earlobes or your ears. I like to blend the makeup into my earlobes and then just kind of buff it out, because then it just sort of gradates into your natural color, and people don't really see the tops of my ears that often anyway. And also, don't forget to blend down your neck as well. Now what I'm going to do here is, because the coloration on my neck gets a little lighter as it goes towards my chest, I'm actually going to use my highlight shade to blend that into my neck so that it looks a little more like my natural skin tone, so it doesn't just like I have like a block of color sitting on top of my skin. Next, we're going to go in with our highlight shade. Same brand, Rimmel Stay Matte, and this shade is in Light Porcelain, number 10. So we're going to, again, use our finger to apply that to the highlight areas of our face. So cheekbones, middle of the forehead, bridge of the nose, Cupid's bow, and the chin. And also, like I said, the bottom of the neck. Now it's time to go in with our cream contour. Same thing, same brand, different shade. This shade is 504 Deep Mocha. These foundations are super full coverage. So every time I use this for my cream contour, I bought this tube probably like a year and a half ago, and it's still almost full, because when I use it, all I need is like, that is actually probably too much. I just need like a little tiny bit, and I just plot it around where, oops, a little low. That's okay, we'll fix it in post. And then I can just blend it out from here, and as you'll see, the color stays so pigmented. So I really only need a tiny little bit at a time to do my contour. And now for the cheekbones, we're just gonna take, again, just a little bit and go right at the outer edge of the cheekbone and just blend in. And I'll do that for both sides. Alrighty, we are done with our cream contouring and highlighting, and now what we're going to do is we're going to set the foundation and highlight with powder. This is a 3-step contouring process. So we're going to do powder, and then we're going to go over our cream contour and highlight with some pigments. So first we're going to set the non-highlight parts of our face. I use powder foundation because it is a little more pigmented than setting powder, and so it sort of helps to sort of blur everything and make everything sort of cohesive. And I'm like almost out of this, but the shade that I'm using is Stay Matte powder foundation from Rimmel London in Creamy Natural, shade 11. So I'm going to take my powder brush. This is an Eco Tools powder brush, and I'm going to set all of my regular foundation. When I set the powder on the sides of the bridges of my nose, I like to pinch the bristles of the brush so I get a smaller surface area, so I can just sort of carve that out a little bit, sort of do a subtle contour but with just the powder instead of like a shadow or a bronzer or anything. Now we're going to set our highlight sections. First we're going to get our hair out of our makeup. Then I'm not going to be able to tip this because this is like kind of shattered, but this is the Insta Fix and Matte Rimmel powder. This is a translucent setting powder, and I like using this for my highlight because it just keeps everything nice and bright whilst also fixing the cream in place. Alrighty, next we are going to set the contours with powder. I use e.l.f. Blush and Bronzer Duo. This one is super old. I don't know if they even still make these, but this one is in shade St. Lucia. And usually I use the e.l.f. Contour Bronzer Brush, but for some reason I can't find it, even though I just used it and I just cleaned my vanity. So I don't know, but I'm going to use this angled, tapered, whatever, contour brush and set the contours in our cheeks and our forehead. Next, we're going to do our highlight, which I always use a matte white eyeshadow for my highlight, and I like to use the NYX Shadow Single in Whipped Cream, and I'm using a Real Techniques brush. I don't know, oh, it's called a setting brush. Don't know if they make this still, but yeah, so we're just going to take that and we're going to set the highest points of the highlight with this. Now that that is done, we're going to take our powder brush and we're just going to buff it all out and just make sure it's all nice and blended. Now it's time for blush. The way I do blush is I like to keep it on the outer edges of my cheekbones, blend it up into my contour a little bit, just because I have a more oval shaped face, so it complements it best when it's on the outer edges. So I'm going to use an Eco Tools tapered blush brush and Palladio blush in shade Velveteen. I've had this blush for so long, I use it all the time, and I haven't hit pan yet. It is so pigmented and pretty. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It's like a perfect rosy, pinky, deep color. I love it. So I'm just gonna finish putting that on both sides of my face. Alrighty, that about does it. That is how I foundation and contour and highlight my face. Thank you so much for joining me for this little mini tutorial. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out my alternate channel, Decoradora. I'll link that in the description. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!